Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Jermell Charlo admits him and his brother have received large offers from 2 different promoters, but he's focused on his upcoming fight. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, Errol Spence had a media day. Jermell Charlo also has a fight in June on the Leo Santa Cruz Abner Mares card, so he's getting ready for that. It's going to be at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, June 9th. So if you want to check out Leo Santa Cruz Abner Mares, also Jermell Charlo versus Austin Trout, then make sure you get down to the Staples Center in LA and get your tickets. Now, during this media day, reporters that were present asked Jermell some things, and he says, I received, 2 great contracts from 2 different promoters. I don't look at myself like a free agent. You know what I'm saying? I have a general to answer to and make sure we agree upon the most. The offers are big, they're large, they're nice, bigger than the BS ones the other boxers in the industry posted. And I'm glad that they're looking at me as one of the faces of boxing. That's the reason they're coming to me like this. But that's not something that's on my mind right now. I've got to definitely take care of this fight, and then I will worry about myself with the promotional contract if necessary. Right now, I'm not with the promoter, right? He goes on to say, I could be signing with Lions Only Promotions and making the same amount of money I'm making now, and I'm satisfied. So a lot of these guys use money to try to bring these fighters in, but that's not the route I'm going with. I'm going with who cares about my career the best and who cares the most about my career. I do believe that we need promoters and we do need PR teams and we do need managers as a boxer, and therefore we're looking into enhancing our careers and the statements behind it. End quote. I like this statement from Jermell Charlo, and obviously he didn't mention names, but most people are pretty much in the know that he's referring to Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, right? Their promotional companies, Top Rank. Eddie Hearn has this new platform that is slated to be worth $1 billion over the course of some odd years. And the reason that I believe it is these 2 promoters that have offered deals is because they've both been candid about wanting to sign Al Heyman fighters and or the Charlos particularly. Eddie Hearn, when he was drinking a beer, when he announced the Dazn thing in New York at that press conference, he was on record saying, hey, I want to sign Mikey Garcia, I want to sign the Charlos, Deontay Wilder, Broner, etc. Any top guys, hit me up, jump in my DMs, slide in my DMs. He said something like that, right? Broner already put him on blast. That's what Charlo's referring to. He says the deal's better than some of these guys posting the contracts on the net. So he said something like that. So obviously he's referring to Broner because he's the only one I could think of that does stuff like that or did that. You know what I mean? Posted Eddie Hearn's 3-fight deal on the net for the whole net to see, especially with non-disclosures, NDAs and stuff like that. But I like this response from Jermell. He's in fight mode. Austin Trout gave his brother a tricky fight, so he's focused on that, not really worried about it. But it's something to think about, and I'm sure it's a confidence booster, and you're at the right place in your career when different people and promoters like Bob Arum, who've been in the game since Muhammad Ali, and Eddie Hearn, who just got this $1 billion deal, are interested in you. However, when it comes to, I'm not really worried. I'm not going to really spend too much time talking about Top Rank because they already have a stable. Like, they have the Shakur Stevensons, Mick Connellan. They have that guy, I think he's a gold medalist from Uzbekistan. They got Lomachenko, who's currently recovering from a surgery. So I want to wish him a speedy recovery. They already got top, Teofimo Lopez. They already got a lot of talent they're either building or that they have been building. Terrence Crawford, stuff like that. But as far as Eddie Hearn, he's going to run into this, I think. I think he underestimated the American market and the complications. I think he he thought once people heard this new platform and Dazn and streaming, it'll just attract fighters to just be jumping for joy in order to sign with him. But it doesn't look like that's the case, because we haven't heard of any major fighters that have a lot of momentum, undefeated guys. Anybody like the Charlos or Broner or anyone that most would say would really catapult the platform. The only person that I've heard has signed is Gabe Rosado, and shout out to him. But you know what I mean, I think he has double-digit losses. He did lose to Jermell Charlo. So I think Dazn, they're still going to have to find the talent. They have a lot of momentum. They have a mouthpiece and know how to sell fights and already kind of pre-built package, so they can really spearhead the programming. Because in addition to not having a stable and having to coax fighters, you have to look at it. Golden Boy already has who they have, like Canelo. So you can't, it's not like Canelo's already a ready-made star with or without the failed drug test. So you can't coax him and like persuade him right now while he's under contract to this Dazn app. You can't just offer him a sum of money, because contractually he couldn't go right now. He had an extension with Golden Boy, so he's still with them. He has to take care of that. Ryan Garcia, he has a big following on Instagram. You can't lure him over there to Dazn because he already has a contract. And Top Rank, same thing with Lomachenko, Terrence Crawford. So really the only fighters that are free agents are people who have been dismissed from other promotional contracts and they're currently in limbo, like a Gabe Rosado who Dazn did pick up. Guys like that, or guys who probably don't have a name, have a big name, or guys with Al Heyman. Now the problem with picking up Al Heyman fighters is Al Heyman's still their advisor, and Al Heyman, I told you guys, and this is what Eddie Hearn probably underestimated. And it's so funny because everyone always has shots and little subliminal disses and talk about the PBC, how they could have did this and that differently. But the funny thing when it comes to it all is people study Al Heyman. They study his moves. They want his fighters. They try to sign his fighters. They want a, you know what I mean, piece of the pie, stuff like that. They would love, I mean, De La Hoya, for example. He talked shit about Mayweather McGregor, which was under the Al Heyman umbrella. You know what I mean? It was a Showtime event, Mayweather Promotions. He works with Floyd, etc. You even heard in the promotion, Floyd said, "Oh, I talked to Al Heyman. I promised him this was my last fight." Right? You heard him say all that. So obviously Heyman had something to do with that particular fight coming together. De La Hoya is talking shit about it, but he knows he would love a piece of that. I mean, the fight got 4 million plus views. I mean, who wouldn't want a piece of that when we're talking business? So again, it's funny that people always have so much to say about what Al Heyman could have done differently, and how he spent his money, and his fighters are only fighting one time a year and too inactive. But the fighters themselves seem pretty loyal to the cause. Broner just told you, he said, "I'm loyal to Steven Espinoza, Showtime, and Al Heyman." I love Al. You know what I mean? Gervonta Tank Davis, he's currently having issues with his promoter, Floyd Mayweather. That's at least publicly what it looks like is going on. But I was at his last fight, and he said, "Thank you, Al. Thank you, Al Heyman." Like, no one's beefing. Like, the only fighter of recent memory that I could think of that had a major outing or like beef with Al Heyman and was publicly speaking up is Vanes Martirosyan. And he got knocked out just recently by Triple G. And, you know what I mean, he's with Don King, a guy who's on his last leg in terms of, like, top fighters in the game. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think Eddie Hearn underestimated all these factors, because it seems like these guys are still loyal to Al Heyman. And there's still a lot of questions besides loyalty to Al Heyman. There's still a lot of questions that these guys have. And he's still their advisor. Like, even Danny Jacobs, who is with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and has this HBO deal, they're still being advised by Al Heyman, stuff like that. And it was very telling when Charlo says, "You know, I don't look at myself like a free agent. You know what I'm saying? I have a general to answer to and make sure that we agree upon the most." So, I mean, you could take that how you want, but to me, the way I interpret that is that he still has a team in place. He doesn't look at himself as a free agent because he still has a team that help him put things together, and he's not just gonna go rogue and make decisions out on himself, you know what I mean, by himself. He still looks up to their leadership, their tutelage, you You know what I mean? People who he's entrusted. And another great thing that Charlo says is a lot of these guys use money to try to bring these fighters in, but that's not the route I'm going with. I'm going with who cares about my career the best and who cares about the most about my career, right? So that's a powerful statement. So it sounds like I told you guys, Al Haymon, and I've talked to several Al Haymon fighters, and they told me this on camera, and I have a lot of these interviews. Maybe I'll make a compilation one day. But the thing is, Al Haymon came in and really shook things up with PBC, and he changed the game. One of the reasons he changed the game is because he brought boxing back to free TV, which hadn't been done. And if it was done, there were usually there's a couple fights, main events on NBC, but it wasn't really stuff that was getting too much attention, you know what I mean, or ESPN or whatever. So he bought big fights like Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Leonard Bundu, brutal knockout right after the Olympics. You know, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, shit like that. Back to regular TV. But in addition, another thing that I've always respected and liked about how Al Haymon came in the game is, I know he's not a promoter, he's just an advisor, but he genuinely seems like he cares for his fighters from talking to his fighters. Like Berto has always told me good things about Al Haymon. I have several interviews, I've had conversations on the record, off the record. He says nothing bad about Al Haymon. And why would he? He's been given a lot of opportunities. If you see him, he has the nice clothes and jewelry and nice cars, wraiths and shit like that. So, of course, he got a Mayweather opportunity to fight Floyd. You know what I mean? People beg, like Amir Khan was kind of begging to fight Floyd. Oh, I think I could beat Floyd. And, you know what I mean? He was like pressing and like searching for the fight. Berto didn't even have to really do shit, in the same stable with Virgil Hunter as Amir Khan, and he got the fight. You know what I mean? Because he was one of Al Haymon's early signings. You know what I mean? He's one of the people that helped Al Haymon put himself on the map. You know what I mean? And helped his movement in the world of boxing. So that was probably like an IOU. Like, thanks, Berto. Thanks for when you were undefeated and you were, you know what I mean? You were one of my prized pupils and stars when I didn't have as big of a stable. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, the guys that I've talked to from PBC, a lot of them sound content, at least with the Al Haymon side. You know what I mean? And I think part of it is because he genuinely cares about his fighters. Like, Al Haymon don't do no interviews. He's like a Kaiser Soze or some shit. He's like a ghost off the grid. However, he talks to these guys on the phone, some of them, you know what I mean? Depending on, I'm sure other people, some have better relationships with Al or not. But he also has his, like, I don't want to say minions, but I can't think of another word, like the Watson family, you know what I mean? So he has them, just like some mafia shit. If you guys, I like, that's a genre I like, crime drama and like gangster flicks and shit like that. So you look at the mob, how the mob is set up. Seldom, usually the head of the mob, they're not the ones that are like pulling the trigger and like killing low-level drug dealers that are interfering with their territory and shit like that. You know what I mean? Because they've already worked their way up through the rankings and became the, you know what I mean, the mob boss, the godfather. You know what I mean? So they get the underboss, the capo, to either assign it or do it themselves. You know what I mean? Even in the movie The Avengers, you look at Thanos, he had that little Tales from the Crypt looking motherfucker. The one he was like, all right, Squidward. That dude, that little Tales from the Crypt looking dude, he had him going to Earth and trying to, you know what I mean, fight the Avengers and all this extra shit, throwing trees with magic and all that. And that's how it is. And that's kind of what Al Haymon has set up. Like, he's not really the one with his face all in the camera, all in the video, but he has the Watsons and the Watson brothers who are walking fighters out. Sam Watson, who might do an interview or two, or, you know what I mean, behind the scenes, be at all the fights. Like, I covered a whole bunch of PBC fights. I never even seen Al Haymon. You know what I mean? Because he is at some of these fights, but he in the back room, in the boom boom room. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just doing his own thing. He just stayed tucked in the cuts. So it is what it is. But that's what Eddie Hearn's going to run into, because it sounds like a lot of these guys respect Al Haymon, what he's done for their career, and they genuinely feel like he cares. And I can't speak for the Charlos. Charlo, I don't know if they'll sign to Eddie Hearn or not, but that's one of the things that I think Eddie Hearn underestimated. He thought he was going to just come into this game, have his name in this app attached to $1 billion, and think people were just going to rush and come sign it to him. But it doesn't work like that, because people like money, but they also like stability. They also like real ones, you know what I mean? Not just like, oh, he's going to shoot me this money, but they're going to treat me like cattle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Eddie Hearn does that to his fighters, because I don't know. You know what I mean? But to lure them away from a situation where somebody's not treating them like cattle, not treating them like a product, that's going to be hard, even though you're offering them some type of money, because what are the details? And again, I told you guys from the jump, another issue with Dazn is it never made its mark in the US market, which is the market they're now trying to conquer. So it's not like a ready-made Netflix or Hulu or Redbox or, you know what I mean, anything that we already know. Trader Joe, you know what I mean, like a company that's already planted seeds in America and already started. Amazon Prime, we know the roots, we know everything about these companies in America, but America has yet to really be exposed to Dazn. I looked on my app store on Apple and Dazn didn't even come up. So it's not even available on the App Store. So no one in America really knows. So you're starting this app from the ground up. Everybody, I challenge you. And if you see something different, let me know. But in the comment section, take 5 minutes out of your day, type in Dazn, D-A-Z-N, into your App Store, whether you have Android or Apple, and let me know if an app shows up where you can download Dazn, this app. So I just checked it the other day. It was probably a week ago, and nothing came up. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm sure it will come up in September or whatever, but it just goes to show you they got work to do. So that's another issue. You're trying to lure Mikey Garcia and the Charlos, people who have no promoters, and they're getting what they want. They're getting big fights. They're getting activity. Jermell Charlo just knocked out both of his mandatories. Now he's fighting Austin Trout at the Staples Center in LA. I don't know if he lives there, but I think he was living out there. You know what I mean? He's friends with Chris Brown, who lives out there. So of course he probably is loving the opportunity to fight in LA. Where is Eddie Hearn going to have Charlo fighting if he signs? Who is Eddie Hearn going to have him fighting? You know what I'm saying? So it's more to it than just offering him a structure of this many fights and this amount of money. Who am I going to be fighting? Where are you going to have me fighting? What is your protocol? What are your programs? Who is your team? Who is your people? If I have an issue, who is the PR person that I talk to? You know what I mean? All this stuff matters, because I've been to fights with, let's say, Broner. I've been to several Broner fights, right? Broner Granados, Broner Garcia, Broner versus Vargas, etc. Right? And Broner, if he has something like his mic wasn't working, he knows the PR staff with PBC. He knows who to check for to get him another water, or to fix his mic, or like, hey, I want some coffee before I do these interviews. You know what I mean? Or whatever, little shit like that. So all that, these little details are important. We'll see, but that's the latest from Charlo. Let me know if you think he'll sign with Top Rank or Eddie Hearn and Dazn. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hey, comment, and subscribe. Until next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.